Yo guys, Vision Shen here, back with more Marvel Rivals content. Today's video I'll be bringing you the best tank gameplay for each individual Vanguard, the 11th episode of my new series to this channel, and this episode will be for Emma Frost, showing you the best gameplay possible in both competitive at the GM Celestial rank. Now, to remind you guys, in case you haven't seen the previous episodes so far in this series, the catch of this is that I have to earn the Lord icon in each of the heroes in this game to be shown in this series before I can even upload them to the channel. So as you can imagine, that will take some time to complete, but I'm always up for that challenge, and in this video I'll give you my advice on how best to use the hero, the strengths and weaknesses along the way, the do's and the don'ts from my own experiences, as well as any tips I've learned along the way as well to help you guys with both the character in general, but also on how best to earn the Lord icon in the fastest and most efficient way, which of course is the essence of this series and what is, well, of course, so important for you guys if you're out there trying to understand these characters in more detail. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, Emma Frost is and has been arguably the best Vanguard in the game since she's arrived in Season 2. One of my best heroes personally, and one of the best Vanguards in the entire game in my opinion. At the Celestial level in competitive, I found this to be a bailout hero that I've resorted to time and time again for many different reasons. She's so incredibly strong as a tank in this game, with high damage output, brawling potential, and defensive capabilities using her shield and diamond form. She is one of the best characters in the game. I have tried so many different characters. I'm a Vanguard main. I love using every single Vanguard in this game, but there are some sort of systems or team compositions that you'll come across and play in where you'll find some playstyles or Vanguards in general, maybe Captain America or Hulk, they just won't be as sort of, they just won't work, they won't feel as good, they won't be the right hero pick for your team in their success, whereas Emma Frost and a handful of other primary tanks such as maybe Strange or Magneto, they're going to be your comfort picks. They're typical sort of solo tank style heroes that could be used in any sort of system and also are compatible alongside other Vanguards, where you can basically use Emma Frost alongside any other Vanguard in the game because of her unique playstyle, which is going to be super easy to understand and super effective at the highest levels in Grandmaster and sort of Celestial level and beyond. Now, to remind you guys, this is not a guide or anything like that on the character in itself and her abilities. This is purely me on my Lord journey and a part of this series. But I have actually made a guide for this character, so in case you guys are new to the game for whatever reason, or you just maybe haven't played Emma and you're looking to see how to play the character in terms of the abilities, what they can do, and so on, go check out in the link in the description. There is going to be a guide for Emma Frost. I've created guides for all of these characters just in case you guys are, like I said, new to the game, or you just haven't used these characters. Perhaps you're a DPS main, you're looking to use some Vanguards or whatever it may be. But like I said, this is not a guide. This is purely me trying to share my journey on how I have found using Emma Frost all the way throughout in terms of getting her from the first rank all the way through to Lord in this game. Now, in terms of, like I said, system or meta, she is a primary and a secondary tank in my opinion. She can be used as a single tank or in a two-tank system. As I just alluded to, she works and is compatible with pretty much anyone in the entire game, which makes her a really standout and strong Vanguard, which is often why she's very banned, and usually because of the shutdown effect that we'll go over in a second with regards to how quickly her diamond form can take down the likes of a Doctor Strange or a Scarlet Witch, or whether in their ultimate form, where she's going to be super annoying and pesty to deal with. So anytime you have a dive hero or people trying to combine some ultimates together, this is where she's typically going to be a favored ban. Now, as for her strengths and weaknesses, I'd say her damage output when she's at full power, meaning at 100% on her sentience, this is great for dealing great amount of poke damage. She's almost like a pseudo DPS that some people have resorted to sort of saying that she is, sort of falls into that category. The sentience is a great burst damage ability, the way you extract the sentience as an entry attack or use it to save for an executioner style ability, effectively taking someone's essence, especially on a squishy, making them weak, and then breaking the essence and all the sentience itself is effectively going to be an executioner style ability, a quick sort of hidden burst attack that is really effective as long as they stay within the range. Of course, this is a really good strength and ability I love, and mastering this will really allow you to enter into sort of team fights a lot more effectively, especially trying to prioritize those squishy targets, as you can often get those team numbers advantages. Now, as for the shields, they are very powerful and flexible, with being able to place sort of freely and being able to protect teammates, both block abilities and ultimates as well, making it super effective. Whereas the likes of Magneto, of course, it's a lot stronger in terms of how it can be effectively used. It is not going to be able to be freely placed, whereas Emma's can literally be put up in the air to save a flyer, while she can then resort to her diamond form whether needed on the ground, which allows her to brawl with most heroes as well as shut down ultimates, like I said, as such as Strange or Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, whatever. You'll see it in this clip that I shut down many different ultimate abilities. Trying to anticipate this is really where the key sort of the part of the understanding of this character is, just learning how to count ultimates, where you roughly are in the round, how those players have performed you're coming across. For example, if you're playing against a Strange and their entire team gets team wiped, For example, if you're playing on an objective game mode where you know that they have to sort of get to the point as quick as possible, you can often anticipate a portal is coming, or if it's been used at the start of the game, then obviously it won't be. But if they haven't used the portal to enter the team fight right at the start, the initial get-go, then you know for a fact that they will have it in their back pocket and they will potentially resort to this in order to get back to the objective. So you can basically read whether a Doctor Strange is going to come flying out the portal with his ultimate, and you can hear the Eye of Agamotto. That's where you effectively grab him and save your entire team from being stunned. Same thing with Scarlet Witch, same thing with a handful of others like Iron Man, where you're going to simply be able to shut them down by anticipating the movement of those characters and as well as the timings, where they are positioning themselves and how far through the round you guys are. But I'd have to say this is probably one of the most satisfying feelings, knowing you have a Doctor Strange about to appear through a portal, or you have a Scarlet Witch come out of nowhere and you shut the whole thing down. It is a really satisfying feeling, especially at the high ranks in Celestial, like Grandmaster, whatever, where players are super going to appreciate, or I mean, they're almost going to expect you to do this anyway because that is your role. But at the same time, just knowing you saved your entire team from potentially a devastating team fight, that is going to be a great feeling, I promise you. If you guys haven't played this character, you guys will need to try see what this feeling's like. It's almost like using Magneto to place a bubble on a teammate to protect them from dying. There's a level of dopamine as a Vanguard player that you'll get from this, knowing that you just saved your teammate and basically protected them, almost like a support effect, knowing that you healed your teammates. The same sort of thing as a Vanguard. This is something that as a Vanguard main, I absolutely take pride in doing and love doing. This is one of the best things about playing this character, and in that diamond form, you can be super effective by shutting down ultimates as well as just obviously reducing the incoming damage, being a great primary blocker for your team. But as for weaknesses, I'd say she has very few in general, but she does lack mobility, I guess, especially in the diamond form due to the nerf on the cooldown with it being used so irregularly now. And additionally, when in diamond form, she is limited to, of course, only close quarter abilities, only meaning that she lacks that range and can be isolated a lot easier in this form, especially with no shield present. Her ultimate ability is also great for setting up teammates in sort of team fight ultimate wipes, but at the same time, it's more so situational from my own experiences, and depending on the maps, the teammates that you have, and also other ultimates that are in play, and being aware of all of these things significantly improves its effectiveness. But all in all, I would say it's pretty readable, and considering, like I said, most maps use cover, most players can often just use the cover to hide from the ultimate ability. So unless you time this right, which of course it does prevent other players being able to use their own ultimates, which is where a lot of people lose the understanding or misunderstand when this ability is really effective, making sure other heroes on the enemy team cannot evade using abilities, or you make them so that they can't use their ultimate abilities. This is where you're going to set up, which is why I said it's a combo ult or a setup ability, where you can basically allow your teammates to use the likes of maybe a Winter Soldier ult or a Punisher ult, abilities where they can basically wipe out the entire team single-handedly while with the support of your own ultimate. Of course, you can do it as well. You will see in this gameplay throughout that there's many moments where I've used my own ultimate ability and wiped out multiple enemies, but it's more so dependent on where your teammates are positioning themselves and also how the sort of team fight is set up, whether you have a teammate trying to sort of organize and coordinate how they're going to put the enemy team in a certain position, and you just trying to make the most of sort of a bad situation or a good situation, depending on obviously the circumstances. But this just, I'd say this ultimate itself is more so situational than most others in the game. Whereas if you look at the likes of Magneto, who is very similar in playstyle to the likes of Emma Frost, his ultimate is more, again, situational for you trying to shut down a support ultimate or be effective at countering the likes of maybe a Punisher, an Iron Man, or a Star-Lord. Whereas Emma Frost, you're simply trying to set up a team fight and position yourself where the enemy team has as least cover as possible, so you can basically stop them using their abilities whilst also allowing your teammates to wipe them, making them super vulnerable and really easy to pick out. And winning the team fights is where this character is going to thrive, and allowing your teams to get the entry pools to make sure that you have a squishy target as a priority, using the sentience. All of these things are going to make this character far more effective and super fun to play. But as for like the do's and the don'ts, do not chase and get carried away with chasing other people down, especially when in diamond form. Even if you have an enemy super weak and one shot, whether you want to take the 1v1 chow like I just did with Emma Frost, you will often find you just get traded out after and die, and that is simply going to leave your teammates without a Vanguard. Whether you're a single tank or a two tank system, it doesn't really matter. Try not to chase people down and then get yourselves killed. I play this game a lot at the rank level with my cousin, and he's usually a support player, and I will tip my hat to him. He is a really good support at keeping me alive. So anytime I make some rogue plays or try capture clips or whatever it may be, at least if I'm trying to play seriously, he will usually follow me up and assign his main heals to me if I'm going to make an aggressive play, because I will communicate it, which leads me on getting to the next point and making sure you're communicating. Whether you have your ultimate ability, let your teammates know you're about to use it by just either using the ability, the marker that you did, sort of indicating that it's there available to them to remind them that you're about to use it, or simply if you're talking in game chat, just you tell the team you're about to do that, because that is really important. Making sure your healers are aware you're about to create some movement on the field, leaving you isolated, but also as well, like I said, setting up the team for a good successive team fight is really important as well. And then also, like in this clip you're seeing right here, this character can be used super clutch. Like in this moment right now, this is one of the best moments I've had using Emma Frost, where we're in a domination right now. As you can see, we're about to win the game, but my entire team is just dying, and I'm trying my absolute best. As you can see, I'm getting healed really, really well and effectively, and I'm trying to sustain as long as I can. But this character sustain is absolutely absolutely insane, especially when you use the shield as a shield wall, and make sure you walk in between it so you can take as much damage as possible in the diamond form, whatever it may be. And all in all, you can collectively sustain for a significant amount of time, especially on your own. You'll see right now, I absolutely clutch up. There is a rocket respawn beacon once I die here. The enemy team looks like they're in a favorable position to survive and win this game. As you can see, I'm trying to play and create a smart angle so that I can eventually interrupt and try and sort of disrupt the enemy team from capturing this and winning this game. I'm trying to play my life, so I eventually will have to use the ultimate ability to sustain as long as I can by using my shield, walking in and out of it, sort of reducing and mitigating as much incoming projectile damage as possible, and just waiting and delaying and disrupting the enemy team so that my team can get back onto point with a portal and get as many kills as we can as quick as possible so that we can recapture the point. This was a great clutch moment at the high level. I think this was a GM lobby, and then this was just a really cool moment for me. I eventually die, but as you can see, I get BP and a grab, so he starts to get sort of the pounce effect, and I think he's about to use ultimate ability, and then I die in this clip, and then spawn back up, and I'm like, oh my god, did we win? Did we win? And as I spawn up, you can see that we eventually won, which is a really cool moment, but just gives you guys an idea on how much this character can sustain. Even there, when my whole team dies, you can really just stay alive for as long as possible when you use your ability smartly. Use the shield as a shield wall, reduce as much of the incoming damage as possible, shut down players who are squishy, and just try and delay as long as possible with diamond form. And that is the most important thing as a Vanguard, making sure that you're trying to stay alive for your team and lead the team in least deaths possible. That is a great prideful stat that you should be looking for. Staying alive and having the least deaths on your team as a Vanguard is a really important metric that people don't understand. It's not all about stats, and this is not particularly a flashy character by any means. And what I mean by that is there's not really any flair to the character. Of course, there's some cool moments with using the diamond form, shutting down enemies, kicking them off the map, like you'll see at the start of this gameplay in this clip, that I had a 4-piece, or I think it was a 4-piece of kicking the enemy team off the map, and then of course shutting down, like I said, the likes of a Strange or a Magni or a Scarlet Witch or maybe an Iron Man, whatever it may be. They're all cool moments, but they're not exactly particularly flashy, and they don't always happen. But generally, staying alive for your team and protecting them using your shields, whilst also prioritizing squishies and picking them off, that is where the character is going to excel. And from my own experiences, where I found her to be most effective. And like I said, being a secondary tank, making her more offensive focus is really easy. Whereas if she's a single tank, you have to be far more defensive focused. Where she's not as effective, she definitely complements the likes of a Mag or a Groot or a Strange, whatever. She's definitely more effective in a 2-tank system, in my opinion. But she obviously can be used as a single tank. She's just a really strong character all in all, and I have absolutely love using this character. Like I said, I've resorted to her time and time again as a more of a bailout character. It's a character I didn't want to get Lord because I have an issue when I'm Lord grinding on not using characters once they're already Lord, because of course if I am grinding Lord characters anytime I'm playing the game using a character that is Lord, it's just less time using other characters. And if I'm going to try and get every character in the game, that's time I would rather spend more valuably trying to get another character to Lord, whilst also at the same time multitasking who I'm going to play in ranked, because I refuse to use a character for the first time or a character I am not competent and strong on using in like the likes of a GM or a Celestial level, because that's just not fair to my teammates, especially if I do not fully understand that character. Like, I'm not saying I'm sort of a one trick or anything like that. I can use all 3 character classes from Vanguard all the way through to Strategist, and I can use various different characters. It's just what I'm saying is anytime I'm trying to use a new character, I don't want to resort to my Lord, so I'm trying to really boost my sort of pool of heroes to the point where I don't want to use and get certain characters to Lord, and Emma was that character for me. I had her around that 2000 area in the Lord sort of ranking for quite some time, really close to the Lord, but I was almost reluctant to use her because I knew that this was a bailout character, someone I wanted to resort to at any point when I needed to get my team a win, and that is where I sort of used the character to get the final tickings towards the Lord status, was trying to sort of use her at the times I needed to, and then eventually we got to Lord, and eventually that is, like I said, a point where I don't want to now use the character, which is a shame. It's almost a bittersweet feeling because I am proud and I'm happy that I got the character to Lord, a really fun character, which interestingly I had a poor start with. When the character first came out in Season 2, it was a bit of a moment where I stopped playing the game a little bit. I can't remember what game I was playing otherwise, but it was a bit of a point in time where I wasn't really playing the game as much. And sort of get back into the game, I kind of had to force myself to use new characters, which didn't really work out for the best because I genuinely did not understand how to use this character initially. And I kind of hated the fact that I am a Vanguard main who could use all of the Vanguards to this point really effectively, but I could not understand for the life of me why I was not good with Emma Frost. And I cannot remember for the life of me why it happened or when, but some reason something just clicked and I figured out how to use this character. I started shutting down other ultimate abilities. I started not dying. I just started getting loads of kills and not dying and figuring out how to stay alive for as long as possible. And that effectively allowed me to just become really confident at this character and really carrying and taking over games at the highest level that I've been to in competitive, and where I really found the most success all in all. And just a character I definitely would recommend for any newer players in the game, or just generally in this game. People, even if you're a DPS main or a strategist, this is a strong character I would recommend sort of leaning towards if you're going to play in the Vanguard role. A character I think is fairly simple to use and learn, learn. Of course, at the highest level, every character comes with the territory with whether the character is going to be easier or better or harder to learn, depending on obviously where you're playing in terms of rank, casual, whatever it may be. This is going to be a character, in my opinion, that is fairly simple to learn, but playing her at the highest level, that all comes with understanding the awareness of the game, timings in terms of when you're going to sort of use your abilities, the ultimate, the diamond form. That is where you're going to really excel and go one above and beyond from other players who can play Emma at the basic level. And that's where I found that I typically just understood this character really, really well, knowing how to shut down ultimates. Like I said, I keep alluding to that because it's seriously an important factor to understand with this character. Is a really sort of fundamental part of this character. Being able to grab people out their ultimates is really clutch and also just really fun and satisfying, as I said earlier on. But also say save the choke slam when anticipating the ultimates. Don't just use it because you have it. If you don't need to use it, don't use it. But save it where possible, because I have found that other smart players will anticipate that you're going to do it, and as soon as you do it, they will then go for the attack and they will pounce on your team and you'll leave your team vulnerable. So make sure you save it where you can to shut down those abilities where possible. Try and maintain constant pressure as well with a primary attack to keep the power up and as close to 100% as possible to ensure maximum damage output, as well as using the sentience ability, like I said, to execute enemies or use it as specially on squishies, prioritizing them either as an entry attack or also, like I said, as an executioner. In my personal advice and experience and rankings, I'd say she is definitely a top 3 Vanguard in my list. One of the best heroes in the entire game. Which I would just say I feel the most impactful using this character or thing in the Vanguard category. This is just the 2 strongest heroes. If I had to win a game and I had to put my life on a weather and put all the money, I would pick these 2 characters basically. And Emma just happens to be a really strong and fundamentally fun to play character in this entire game. And I'd say, like I said, my initial experience didn't go well. So even if you guys have tried the character out and you didn't necessarily get along with it or you didn't enjoy the character, there is a silver lining. As soon as you understand, like I said, all of these things we've gone over in this video with regards to timings, understanding the abilities, the awareness, situational positioning, all of these things will come into how effective you can be and just be generally really good. It's like Angela. As soon as Angela's come out, I sort of took a bit of time. I didn't particularly like the character at the start, but now I've fallen in love with that character, and that is going to be one of the other sort of Lord characters we are pushing for, which is a little bit sweet because like I said earlier, I don't really like to play any Lord characters once they are there because I'm trying to go for all of the characters, which is just wasted time, which means now that I've got all of the Lords nearly on all of the Vanguards, it is a bit sweet because it now means I'm not going to play Vanguard as much in competitive, if at all, which is a bit of a shame, but now we can move on to the duelist and strategist categories as we're moving through this list and getting through all of the episodes. But as for like the Lord category and getting this character to Lord, I would say grab this sentience as much as possible. If you guys weren't aware, getting characters to Lord, every character has their own hero-specific unique requirement, and for Emma Frost, this is going to be grabbing the sentience of enemies as frequently as possible. The more often you'll get the sentience, the quicker you will get this character to Lord. It's as simple as that, and make sure you place your shields as frequently as you can to block incoming damage, save those teammates, as well as rotating your heroes, as I particularly do not advise just maining one hero. So if you are going on the Lord grind or you're just wanting the sort of general tip, my opinion is do not play just one character. This is not an efficient way. I've gone over this in many other videos and I'm not going to go into too much more detail, but in summary, I would say she is one of the most dominant Vanguards in all of Rivals with incredible offensive and defensive capabilities, super fun to play, and adds that incredible sort of dopamine clutch factor by using the diamond form and shutting down enemy ultimate abilities. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any comments or thoughts about using Emma Frost or any cool clips that you want to share, please let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'm Vicious Gen. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.